Hello, good evening, everyone. This is another day that the Lord has made. We rejoice and we are glad in it. It's day 4 actually, but like I said yesterday, we had to split what we had planned for day 3 into 2 so that we have a good grasp of the different things we'll be talking about. I didn't want to just congest everything into one module and you just being stressed on trying to get into much within a short time. So it's still day 3. This is the second part. Yesterday we were on I want to apologize for the way yesterday turned out. I had so many hitches with my internet. It was taking forever to get things done online, and at a point I started having hang-ups when I was taking the recording, and that was why while we're talking about the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system, it just got hooked somewhere and I just had to end this session like that. So I'll continue from there as we take on the second part of the Fussion navigating the transition systems and managing it in such a way that you are not overwhelmed. All right, so welcome again. If you're there, can I hear you just say not hear you? Can I see you right? I'm here and I'm listening. I'm here and I'm listening. Okay. Awesome. Good. So we are, I think this was, yes, we were talking about active the T.E.R.R.A.T.E system. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for responding so sharply. All right, so we're talking about the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structure, creating systems and structures, and then I began to break down 7 things that you can begin to include into your way of working that would help you to balance your life across all of these cycles that will show up. So we started with the T, being clear with your target. Then we started with the we started with T.E.R.R.A.T.E. The second was understanding your energy flows and energy circle. Then we went to the first R, learning to have rituals, learning to have regimes and building rosters. So rituals, you're breaking things into tiny little habits that you can do every time, every day, weekly or monthly. That's the first R. Then the second R is leveraging relationships around you. And I said there are relationships around you that will cost you nothing. Think about those you can delegate things to, your mentees, your helpers, your friends in your choir or any community that you're in. Learn to seek help. All right, learn to leverage the relationship around you that can help you get things done instead of you just getting it done yourself. I talked about a friend of mine who is a good caterer, and I just leverage her to shop. There are times I need this. I may not send her the money right there and then, but she already knows that I need it. She gets them for me and then I transfer to her when I'm free and settled. So that's the T.E.R.R.A.T.E. Then we talked about active planning. So that was where we were when when the hitches started. So active planning, right now we're going to go straight to it. Okay, I'm going to switch this up. Okay, so active planning, this speaks to crafting what your day will look like and taking action as at when due. So like this evening, today being a new day, Wednesday, from the beginning of the day, I already had a mental picture of what my day would look like, but not leaving it at that mental picture. All right, for me, remember I told you that one of my learning systems is having to put things down on paper. All right, so I try to walk in line with myself and I quickly put them on paper. This and this will be done. so that there is a clear view of what I'm supposed to achieve by the day. Procrastination, I want to talk about active planning, kinds of reduces the temptation to procrastinate. Anyone can fall into this vice called procrastination. Procrastination is a major source of overwhelm, and I'll tell you why. Because it is a build-up of activities, build up of to-dos that should have been done at a particular time, but left undone, and eventually leaves you with a pool of negative information, leaves you with a pool of drained energy that cannot be erased until all the undone activities have been clicked as done. All right, so you might think, I'm enjoying a free time here, I'll do this thing tomorrow, but then you are clogging tomorrow with a lot of things to do within a short time. Remember, we can never buy back time. One of the ways to kill the act of procrastination is to just do. I'm saying I'm going to do this now. Okay, I'm going to do it. Set alarms, have accountability partners, and all of that. Now, it's also highly crucial when the kids are on holidays, when you now step on from the season of singlehood, or something, God blesses you with children, or you have people living with you, in terms of family, it becomes even more demanding or even more important for you to live below the temptation of procrastination. Try and do without it. Pray about it if you have to. If that's a vice that's actually, tying you down from living a life of balance. It also comes to play when managing a major project, active planning. It's for someone like me, it's hard for me to just jump on a project like planning a concert 1 month to the event. I'm likely going to crash. When I mean crash, not that I will die, but the kind of energy that it will take from me, because I have not taken my time to plan and execute, stepwisely. So I'm using the example of a concert because I know that's something that's readily common to music ministers and all of that. But you need to be sure that whatever project it is, involve active planning. Then leverage simple tech tools for productivity. In cases where you don't have to always hold a notebook, there are things that you can use. Begin to think of automation systems. For example, one of the things I'm trying to do with my coaching now is including automated systems, so that over time I don't have to be in a vis-a-vis one-on-one all the time saying, okay, we have a course selling automating the systems. And this might come with a lot of flexibility. Open yourself to new knowledge. All right, so that's it. Learning, I had to learn how to use Google Calendar, learn how to use alarm clocks, learn to use social media and schedulers. All of these things are very, very necessary. Okay, so it just helps you achieve more in little time. So I don't want to hear my kind of people saying, I don't know, I'm not techie. I'm not. You have to be techie, because tech has come to stay. It has come to stay, except you want to be outdated and irrelevant. Okay, so just embrace it. At the second T is task estimation. Now, this works with the principle of apportioning time to task, so that you can account for how you are using your time. All right, and account for how you are using your time. Like I tell people, I'm like the music director of my church choir at the moment. I oversee what happens in the choir, and I tell them often that it makes no sense that we come and then we plan to have a meeting and we spend 3 hours, and then the next morning when you're ministering, you say you forget. what you were supposed to sing, or you forget the instructions that you were given. What that means is that you haven't made that 3 hours work for the purpose for which it was sent. That's it. So that's how we waste time. That's how we kill time. All right, if you stay in a rehearsal and you stay with one song for 3 hours, and then the next Sunday I'm asking you to sing that song, maybe spontaneously or impromptu, and you cannot remember anything, that's a waste of that 3 hours. Because the average song that you're learning, maybe for your ministration, everything, is 4 minutes, 6 minutes. Maybe the longest song, like Victoria Renze's songs or Ducey's songs, maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, and then you have a rehearsal, and then you all focus on that song for 3 hours. There is no reason why everyone in that choir shouldn't know the verse, the chorus, and everything. No reason whatsoever. But because we have all projected or framed our mind to say, I'm not the one taking the lead, it's only the chorus I will know, then we don't maximize that time. So I tell people, you spend 3 hours in a rehearsal and all you left there with is to know the chorus of the song. No, that's not tax estimation. You have not judiciously apportioned enough time. Not enough time. You have not judicially apportioned, the right time to that song. Okay, so we all need to take this and put across all of these pillars and say, if I want to do this, set it in now. In how long should I really finish it? When I have a pack of laundry that I want to do, I tell myself, in 1 hour, I'll be done with this volume of clothes. And with the principle of engrossment, which I'll go to, I focus, engrossed in it, and I deal. Okay, so does it make sense to spend 3 hours at rehearsal and still go back home not knowing the dictates of the song? You answer that. Okay, so tax estimation is about justifying the time allotted to a tax and ensuring that it counts for that purpose. We got that, don't we? So somebody just right there, say tax estimation. Tax estimation. Say, I get tax estimation. Okay, awesome. Right, so the last on the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system for structural code for designing and creating systems around your life will be engrossment. And this is one of the ones I have really mastered, and I can say across different seasons it has worked for me. They say something like, when you make a habit, when you do something consistently for 30 days, 21 to 30 days, it becomes a habit. Okay, and so engrossment speaks to the technique of using a large dose of focus to getting certain tasks done. So it's a technique that works for birthing seasons, maybe like when you want to release a book, or you want to finish a song in the studio, you want to do things that would scale you up or upgrade your brand, or things that a chunk of work that needs ample time to get done. So it's about closing up on one major area, to achieve a reasonable and appreciable result within a short time or within a designated amount of time. So I'm asking here that, can you partition the days of the week to focus on different areas of your life? So I'm going to just use my example here to give you a clearer picture. So for me, I have my Mondays as my me days, where I focus the attention on my self-care. I retreat. So I decided to introduce weekly retreats into my life, because from self-discovery, I realized that bulk of my active energy, if I'm going to be active at all, I need my calmness, my solitude. I need time with God. I feel very, very empty and very, very out of place when I have not had ample time with God. Okay, so instead of waiting for like 6 months to go have a retreat, and I'm saying, is it possible that I have a time out at least once a week? And so I have partitioned my life into different areas. So my Mondays are my middays. I retreat, I recreate, I enjoy my quietness. I watch Jennifer's Diary, comedies, study and worship. I stay home. I do any and everything that builds my energy level. That's what my Mondays are for, and 80% of the time, that's what I use it for. Except maybe when things just out of the blues, come up and they are urgent and important, and then I, go against that plan. Now, my Sundays are family days. The children, father, my husband, everybody knows it. After church, we gather. After lunch, we take lunch together. We gather, sometimes in daddy's study or in the sitting room. We watch skits from one phone, not from different phones. If you're going to be watching skits or TikTok and all of that, it's from one phone. Most times it's daddy's phone, or a movie in the sitting room, something. We could do a drive around town. Just drive. Nothing particular, not necessarily spending time in the eatery and all of that. Oh my God, excuse me, apologize. So a drive around town, a visit to family, friends, or anything that fosters family bonding. So that's what we do. All right. So, and then even the cooking time, they take turns. We take turns. It's my turn as the lead cook, and then we are the supporters for like that. So it's about innovation and creation in such a way that you don't suffer, your family doesn't suffer, and every other thing that you desired or foresaw as a target is gradually building up, and you're reaching that goal. So my Saturdays are music days, because I realized that Saturdays are when we have church meetings. Saturdays are when we have choir meetings. From choir meetings, sometimes some choir meetings takes us 3 hours, 4 hours. We are there, and so I just put everything around Saturdays. That's when I listen to new songs. I just let it play from the morning. Let them play, singing the man's culture. So that's what I have done. My Mondays, Saturdays, my Sundays, my Thursdays, I reserve for coaching calls. Basically, main ones that I will have to do. So that's what engrossment does. That on particular days, you can just take sizable portions of the things that your daily life is about and fix them up on any day of the week. Now, remember that I drew a cycle. That was let's quickly go back there. Now, remember this cycle here, and how I try to mirror my life across different seasons, where I talked about me being a music banker and being a music minister entrepreneur, me being a music minister stay-home mom, a music minister worship leader. Now, I have taken each of these portions of my life, that's where we are going now, and trying to show you that what particularly stood out at this time and how I balanced my life at this season, so that if you find yourself right now doing career and you're still a music minister, you know what to do. Okay, so the banker / career music minister. So this is peculiar to those doing the 5 to 9 p.m. stuff, 5 to 9 p.m. professionals. In this season, now you must understand that the core demand on you is the career, because you're spending the active part of your life 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. the active part of your day, in fact the active part of your life, let's not dance around the truth, in the career. 9 p.m. upward is more or less like your low energy time. You are tired. There's barely nothing that is active about that time, except you now take ample rest and then you go back to work. And then if you're living in the metropolises of Nigeria, you're living in somewhere like maybe Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, all those kind of places where it's almost impossible not to find yourself in traffic and all of that, it means that what you are facing is really, really a big deal. So the demand of your job is important because it is a major source of income for yourself, for your dreams, for your family, for your projects, for your loved ones and all of that. So it's really a major part of your life. Yet the truth is, you still have a commitment to your call in music, your call in marriage and motherhood. Now, this is important because at this point, many people lose touch with their call, and sometimes they even find it hard to get back inside, to get back, and they just lose it and just go on with life in a different way. Now, what should you be doing to enjoy your fulfillment? I'll show you what you should be doing. As for number one, be curious to know if the job you are doing at that point in time is a long-term path for you or a passing through. You need to know if it's a long-term path for you or is a passing through. And these answers are not difficult. Like I said, it's about self-interrogation and self-reflection. Is one thing you cannot run from. So it's about you just traveling into the future. I remember then what I would do when I was already getting into the third year in the banking system, and all of my friends that we went to training school together, I saw that they were already taking certification courses to project. So them already changing careers, taking certification courses to build a career in banking, doing all those ICANN, human resources courses, different things. They were doing all of that and they were taking themselves forward. And I would sit down and I'm like, there's nothing in me suggesting I should even do that. There is nothing in me directing me to even take all of those courses, except I wanted to force myself into it. And so I would sit down and just look into the future and I'm like, what's the call? What's still dragging me inside? And I'll put myself in a banking system for the next 2-3 years, and I will assess, am I fulfilled here? I say no. I put myself in a place where I'm singing to an entire nation, and I fulfilled it, and I say yes. So at that point in time, I knew that, okay, this job is not a long-term path for me. It's a short-term path for me. And I began to ask myself, how long do I think I want to stay here so that I can begin to do more? So you may want to decide for yourself how long you want to stay within that system. At number 2, while on the job, which already takes a sizable portion of your day, you would need to adapt simple techniques that would balance out other expressions calling for your attention. Balance out your music, balance out your marriage if you're already married, or if you're in a relationship, balance out your motherhood if you already have children. Now, in my case, all of these 3 were already in action. So I'm going to be sharing with you what I did in this season. Okay, so as someone who is doing career and who is still a core music minister, you are going to have to be thinking of techniques to adopt. At number 1, one technique that I adopted was one stone to kill many birds technique. One stone to kill many birds technique. And with this technique, you are asking yourself, what can I do that can address at least 3 important things at the same time? At least it may be more. Okay, so what one thing can I be doing that can help me address three important things at the same time? So here was I at the season of nursing. It's also a mothering season. My music call was there. My marriage was there. And so while I'm bathing the baby or dressing the children, I turned the dressing baby time into worshiping time as well. The goal was to stay active in Thanksgiving while that's feeding my spirit, feeding my music call and all of that. The goal was to stay active in Thanksgiving while indirectly teaching and passing on the spirit of worship to the kids. It was also the period I started sex education and taught them playful songs, educating them about their sex. Now, I have a habit of just singing anything. And that's an advantage for you if you are called into music. You can turn anything into playful songs. And as children, they enjoy that. As children enjoy that when you can make a play out of anything. Okay, so it's important that you infuse your music skill into all of these things. Let the children from baby time hear you worshiping. My mom told me very early in life that everything about raising children is training, is intentional training. That once a child comes into the world, they have no idea about how the world operates. Everything you mirror to them is what they are taking in as how the world operates. All right, so from that time, you don't need to say it is when it's 3 years old or 5 years old, I'll start involving my children in worship. No, from that time, they'll see you doing it, they begin to learn and like, oh, this is what this is. You may think nothing is going on, but a lot is going on. I also remember that when it came to the sex education part, there was nothing like early is too early, so when I'm bathing them, once in a while I'll just be playing with I'll be addressing I'll touch the nipple. I'll be like, what do you do with your private part? Some of the songs that I have, you protect them, you hold, I said, this is your private part, it's for you, it's not for anybody else. Mommy is just washing it right now because she's mommy. When you grow, just little tips like that, like that. And I look at today and I'm like, Lord, all these things worked. A consciousness of who they are, what they should protect. My second daughter is just 11 years old, and while she was 7 thereabout, she was conscious of her privacy already. If she's dressing in her room and you just come and say, please excuse me, you need to leave out now, mommy, you can't be here, and I gladly obey and I step out because that consciousness is already there. So number 2, I place my personal active prayer time. My personal active prayer time became the children's room. It became the children's room. So I was actively praying and training the children as well. I needed them to see me doing it, passing on the spirit to them. That's balancing my home, balancing my prayer. I pray loud, I talk, I pray loud, they're hearing what I'm saying, and all of that. So at number 3, listen more. I began to also listen more because this is a phase where your hands are busy, are even more busy. You're cooking, you're carrying the baby, your hands are not as free. So saying you want to read a book or write something might be a lot more cumbersome. But then you begin to introduce audio messages, audio Bibles, audio books. On YouTube there, the Bible, I might want to sit with Ephesians, and I just go and I get a YouTube page that has audio Ephesians where it has been recorded completely, and I just let it play. Sometimes even through the middle of the night, I just leave Psalms on playing with subtle, and that's it. So listen more than read more. Even in the children's room, you can leave that ongoing, and you're already framing their mind about the spirituals, and you're already teaching them godly cultures. At the same time, you are aligning with your core as in terms of your spirituality and your music. Okay, excuse me please, I need to stretch a little. So I also say devote some time to journaling, which eventually impacts on your songwriting. Songwriting doesn't just, will I say no? Okay, so some people may be gifted with writing from day one, but you may not be gifted with writing or creating songs just like that. but you can learn it and grow it. One of the ways to improve your songwriting is journaling, just telling yourself stories as it is. You're not trying to impress anybody with what you're writing. You're just writing yourself out, and it's actually very therapeutic. Very therapeutic. Is a way to unwind, is a way to just release steam, when you are fatigued or overwhelmed. So devote some time to journaling, which also impacts on your songwriting. So at the time you now want to create a song or something, you can go back to those things you have written and draw out lines and draw out words and phrases that can, make your song really original and real. Have you guys listened to any of my songs? I'm always proud of my songs because they are from a place of personal fellowship and meaning. All right, so my songs are on my YouTube page. You can just be a blessing. It will be a blessing to you. Okay, so self-discovery mode activated is also something that a banker, career music minister should be involved in that season of your life. Okay, self-discovery mode activated. You're trying to self-discover your children. You're trying to self-discover yourself, because things change as soon as you get hooked in marriage, or as soon as the children come. Your mental psyche, the way you react to things change. Okay, pregnancy changes you. So you're self-discovering again. Pregnancy changes the relationship you have with your husband. All right, you're discovering again. So those are some of the things you would need to begin to give attention to, because when people mistakenly or unknowingly don't give attention to this part, that is what causes frictions in the marriage. That's what causes frictions. They are not aware that things have changed. The introduction of a child, changes things. You no longer have attention for your spouse like that, especially the women. And your spouse is reacting to it, but he doesn't know how to tell you so that it wouldn't feel like he's being selfish. Okay, but the truth is, at that season of your life, you now have 2 babies. As a woman, you now have 2 babies. Your husband is your baby, the child is your baby. So you should be desiring the wisdom to manage both. And one of the simplest way to get these things done is carrying them along about everything. Not carrying them in a way that you are not saying they are not there, but just letting them know this is what is going on. Okay, so self-discovery mode activated. Leverage technology. So I was just sharing different things that I did as one stone to kill many birds technique. Leverage technology. I can't say this enough. So as the children grew and school time, preparing school time, getting them prepared for school. Sometimes you wake up 5 o'clock and you're like, brie. But with a Bluetooth speaker just connected, the atmosphere is filled with the word of God or music. You are refreshing your mind, different, always tweaking the playlist. The children are saying that worship is important. You are keeping the atmosphere in the home. You are also blessing yourself, adding to your music pool. In fact, this is what I call passive learning of music song. What am I saying? What's music song? Passive learning of songs. Yes, so there's active learning and there's passive learning. You just listening subconsciously, you are gathering so much. People ask me, is it that you always have a song when pastor calls you up, you always just have a song that will fit into what he's saying and all of that? Residual deposits. So that is it. So leverage technology, flash drives, create diverse playlists of music genres, alarms, timers, Google calendars, planners, Google notebook. There are so many things that would help you, to ease your life and cease from overwhelm as you go on. Number 3, you also need to think about bonding time in this phase of your life cycle. Bonding time, storytelling time. One of the things that I realize is that what the family interprets as love might not be what a parent is interpreting as love. What I've discovered is we are the ones who have taught many children to think that buying is what would make them is what shows love to them. Oh, I want to get you meat pie, they'll be fine. You just keep them cool with that. I want to get you this, they'll be fine. Keep them. But I realized that what they actually want is a connect. They want your presence, and there are many simple ways to get your presence shown. So for me, one of the things I did was storytelling time, and there was a season I observed that my girls always wanted me to sleep with them in their room. It just started, mommy come, and I'm like, oh my God. Even though I didn't feel like it, I had to find a way to make it count. So I began to share real testimonies, how they were born. I would tell them how they were born, what happened, the major breakthrough around their birth. That particular one, they felt like hearing it over and over and over again. My first daughter has a major scar somewhere around her lap. I told her how that scar came about, and she is amusing. She tells people about it. I told her how that scar came about, how I was the cause of that scar, how I made her have nappy rash and all of that. And today she'll be saying that she actually loves the scar, that it looks like a birthmark. She really loves that. She wishes she has it in different parts of her body. You can imagine. So personal victory testimonies around your life, real testimony, that's bonding time. They really feel a part of your life. They can tell you. I talk to them about my boarding school episodes, how mommy and daddy met, how different things, just find things to talk about. Okay, so, and that's because maybe I didn't used to enjoy reading books. When they say read books to children, I didn't used to enjoy those ones. So I found what I loved was helping their faith and also building bonding time. All right, so think about cooking time. Okay, I started introducing them to, so one of the values I said to myself, I wanted my kids to have been able to start cooking at 9 years old. That between 9 to upwards, there are some things I don't want to be doing again. Because I planned that, the first 7 years of their lives, I was going to be really there. And really there in total. So that was when I was doing entrepreneurial work, doing my business from home, and then I was there. And I told them myself that by 9 I should be able to leave all of this again and then focus more on music ministry. All right, so cooking time, I introduced them a lot to it. Many people know that they have their own personal Instagram page, and then we started with that, involving them, and they were enjoying it. Laundry time, I started introducing them to laundry from 3 years old. While I'm washing, I have a bowl. I create a bowl for them. Be washing your own there. They can spend hours. They enjoy playing with water. That's one thing with children. Once you put Omo there, they can make it. They'll pour it away and say, give me another one. It kept them there with me. So laundry time, outdoor games. Even now, till now, we still do some outdoor games. We have this chair that has tires, and they'll just sit on it, and I push them. So there was the first time I started it, I realized that this is another time of exercise for me. If I can just infuse this while I push them on the tire from the beginning of the gate to the end of the other wall, I push them on it. By the time I'm done, I'm panting seriously, and I was like, okay, this is another good one. Okay, so that's it. My rehearsal time, once in a while, I take them with me. They could be doing something else there, but they are there. Shopping time, I've taken my children to all the local markets that I have. I just like, once in a while, just like those noisy marketplaces, and I just take them there and teach them lessons from time to time. I wanted to raise independent kids. I didn't want them to say, this is where the rich are, this is where the poor are. I've taken them into public transport before, then we just wore our nose masks. I said, see, this is life. these people, this is life, and just ensuring that you are balanced across all angles. Number 4, you want to think of building rosters, especially when you're a career woman. Okay, building rosters to foster productivity within the home. One of the things that help children is when you can help them manage their time. Just telling them go and do this, because they are still forming in their minds. They may not be able to say this is when I want to do this or when I don't want to do that. So before, I used to build rosters for them and say this is how you do, this is what you do, and they embrace it. But now that they're already in their teenage years, the first one is already a teenager, the second one is going to be a teenager soon, they create their rosters. So once holiday is coming, okay, I'm like, where's your plan? Let's have your plan. Okay, this is, I think I have, and they make a copy for me, and they also have their own copies. All right, so, and that's taking a lot of things from me now because they are already independent on their own. So you see that these are things that you can do as a career person if you're still in career. One of the things you should think of is, how can I begin to train these children to be independent early? Okay, at number 5, for your music, you're going to say, how can I be in touch with music communities even though I am doing a 9 to 5? Now, as a singer worship leader, at the early phase of my motherhood, I attended choir rehearsals as a main source of keeping the call alive in me, not necessarily with the aim to minister or to sing. Okay, the aim was to keep me seeing myself in the picture of the calling deposited in my spirit, because as a banker, my work was demanding. I was the senior teller, that is, the senior teller in Bodija branch. At the time, Bodija branch was one of the most active branches of Intercontinental Bank in Ibadan. In fact, it was the regional branch at that time. So I once I'm working, I am there. I am there. So another thing I did, though I didn't write it there, was that as soon as closing time was, that's 5 p.m. and then customers have left, I had songs on my system in the office, and so I just tweak it on straight away. The goal was not to know the songs. The goal was to just keep that part of me alive, that there is a call here, So, and it just kept me on. So I'll attend choir rehearsals, sometimes videos, but I just wanted to be there. Not that I would be awake all through the vigil, but it was doing something in me. I was learning from other people how they were doing it. I was feeding my vision for the future and all of that. So at number 6, you're also going to think of singing partners. Now, the way I have 2 ways that I'll talk to you as singing partners. That is, beyond just learning songs all around, there were 2 major people that influenced my music. And number 1 was Tasha Cobbs and Sinach, who I call singing partners. And so for their songs, I must know them in total. When the album Grace came out, Tasha Cobbs, I must know it in total. So for those ones, they were my partners. They sang, they were singers who were out there. Their voice range was similar to mine, and so I was always using them to train. So you can adopt these ways. I had a sister as well who was living with me and who could sing. So there are times I would be like, okay, you part this one, or you sing part, let me just part my own, and I'll be there maybe during weekends working as well. So you have to think of singing partners. So maybe I should say virtual singing partners. All right. And then at number 7, another thing you might be thinking of is to join Bible study groups, places where I just read up Bible commentaries, not necessarily because I want to contribute, and I'm only there to glean. So people comment and it just opens me up. Remember, I told you I know my learning style, and I told you Bible study is one of the things that really energizes my spirit. And so for me, this was key. All right. So for you, you need to know if this would work for you in building your spirituality. At number 8, curating and storing original worship repertoires, because God specifically told me that, Abraham, do not call yourself a gospel artist. You are a worship leader. All right. And I remember he told me that in when was that? Maybe was it 2008 or something. So I would always listen when people are leading praise worship. They're leading praise worship. I'm taking their notes. I'm taking the whole of their songs. Okay, from here she went to this, she went to this. I'm writing it down and I'm redesigning it. Just testing. If I start from number 5, make the number 5 song my first song. How do I build it and still build a climax and all of that? So it was building me internally, building my skill as a worship leader internally without necessarily being on the stage. Okay, so you may also want to think of that as a music minister, right? At number 9, practicing song categorization. That is, I don't group all songs at the same time. I don't group all songs into one pool. Yes, I may have a place where I keep all list of songs, but I now categorize, like, when I listen to this song, is a faith stirring song. This is a prayer igniting song. This is a song that caused me to pray. I put them there. This is a song that speaks on healing. I put them there. Just activating my calling in an internal way, not necessarily in an external way. So something was going on inside, even when it looked like nothing was going on outside. Okay, so that'll be that about that. Hope I'm not too fast. I'm so sorry if I'm too fast. Okay, so but let me know if you're still here with me. It'll be so good to know. Okay, all right. And if there's anything that has stood out for you in all I have shared, if you're finding meaning in what I'm sharing with you, say I'm finding meaning. Say I'm finding meaning. Okay, I'm finding meaning. I'm finding meaning. Finding meaning in my life. Finding meaning in my life. Finding meaning in my life. I'm finding meaning. Okay, you're finding meaning. Good. All right. So for the stay-home mom music minister, so I told you I also entered that cycle. Now this is peculiar to music ministers working from the comfort of their homes, maybe for a company or building their own enterprise. All right. So settling in this season means that most likely you want to build a strong connect with family without losing touch with the other expressions that matter to you. You have most likely also tasted the 5 to 9 p.m. job. You've gone through that phase, and the experience, created a huge disconnect with other expressions of your life craving for your attention. Okay, so what should you be doing in this season? Excuse me. Oh God, it's like I'm getting tired, but we'll finish this, right? So what should you be doing in this season? Number 1 is to invest quality time once you have transited into the stay home mom phase. Invest quality time into activities that will close up the vacuum and disconnect that was created as soon as possible. So once you're in this season, you're saying there's this vacuum. I'm no longer in touch with my music ministry. How can I close it up? I was no longer in touch with my family. How can I close that gap up? Now, let me share one experience that I had that made me, conclude on time that, okay, the banking job was not helping me establish my core values and the things I really wanted out of life. So there was this day after I got back home with my first daughter. She was still in crèche then with my husband, and then we got back home, and my husband just fed her with her golden one. I think she was around 6-7 months at the time. Yeah, so he fed her, and she took everything she ate, and then by the time he dropped her, I wanted to go and do something, so I carried her, and I felt like it felt like she was asking for more food. She wanted more food, so I made another portion, and I was going to feed her, but she didn't take it from me. I tried putting, she didn't take it from me, so I felt, okay, maybe I misinterpreted the gesture she was giving as being hungry or still wanted more. So I left it, and she was calm, she was quiet, she didn't cry. But then when my husband came back, saw what I put on the table, he carried her, and by the time I got back, she had finished eating the food. He collected, she ate everything. I said, really? And it was a aha moment. Is it aha moment now, or it was a thoughtful moment for me? And at that point, I said, it just reminded me. I said, no, this is not what I want. This isn't what I want. And I just began to pray more to God, that I need clarity on the steps to take and the strength to be able to move from that season of my life when it was necessary. Otherwise, if I had continued, honestly, I would have been far from harmony in my heart. I would have been far from being fulfilled in the way I defined fulfillment. So these are some of the things causing overwhelm for some people, causing internal depression, but they can't, get out of it and all of that. So at this phase, I began to invest quality time into the activities that would close up on the vacuum that I was already feeling. I began to establish things that will get me consistently doing stuff together with family and with music friends. Many times, the things that work do not cost much at all. So as a stay-home mom, begin to think of techniques that resume active participation in music teams, take on responsibilities within the team. My team, for people, they have singing group. My team at the time was the choir. So take responsibilities within the team. I was that kind of person. That was when I started. Who will take this song? I will raise my hand up. I had to force myself into taking up challenges, and it would cost me to go stay with the song and learn it, and I would deliver. So take responsibilities within the team without minding how small or irrelevant it is. Even when they'll say, okay, we just need somebody to shout hey within the song, or someone that will just come out and just do the introduction, I will put my hand up and I'll go and do it. So sing at birthdays, find birthdays, naming ceremonies, volunteer as BGVs for people's music projects, attend community concerts. Just explore so that you can rekindle the fire again. Ask a friend if you can sing at their birthday, or reunions. Oh, can I sing for you or something? You are just stretching yourself creatively and then building and closing up that vacuum again. You could get a personal coach if you want, if you can afford it. If not, talk to the great minds in your team. And use virtual coaches online. There are many established YouTube pages that will serve you. All right. So that's that about that. Number 2, you're going to think of resuming active participation within the home. Resume active participation within the home. Take kids to school or go along with hobby, do homeworks, or be present when homework is going on. Okay? Do not ask, because as homework is going on, you can even be there reading a book. Okay, with them. They are doing it. The idea is not for you to do the homework for them, but to be present there when they are doing the homework. Remember, you are closing up on all the vacuums that was formed during that period. All right. So discuss your challenges with your spouse. Do not say they are not musically inclined. You'll be surprised at the solution they have to offer you. So for example, one of my challenges was, I don't know why, but I just don't know how to search for the kind of songs that I want online. I don't know how. I feel like I see it as a very cumbersome task, just staying online and searching. So what I do is I just tell my husband, please. And over time, from then till now, my collections of songs I get from him. He's very much in tune with what is going on musically, both secular and non-secular. And so I leverage on that and save myself the work. That I also have the music director who is also everywhere. He knows everything. Omo, boy, I just please, I need songs on this. So can I bring my flash? I'll copy everything. No problem. Gladly I copy, and I'm right here where I am. I'm not so much of the person who will stay on YouTube and just be listening. No, I get it on my laptop. I like it because I'm always on the move as a music minister, mother, and I'm always on the move, so that's that. So helpers, you want to think of helpers as well, in-house workers. This could, some of the things I'm sharing here as well, could also work for the career phase. Just listen to all the techniques and see how you can build them into your own structural system. So in-house workers, that's if you want them to live with you, okay? At a time when house girls were giving us issues, in fact, we were more overwhelmed and depressed. We just agreed we're going to do without them. And before my kids don't even know any house, because before they were born, we had stopped using house. Today, my marriage is almost 15 years, and we never really took a house help in. But what we did is that we had in-house workers supervision. Somebody can come and I'll just supervise. I'll be there in the house when they are doing all the chores and all the work, and when they are done, we pay them and they go. All right. Also leverage friends shopping for you. I leverage that too a lot. I would just say, okay, the local market, please, this and this is what I want, and they go and they get it done. Family season, also understand the family season that you're in, because you have now left the cycle of where you were earning monthly. Okay, that sizable amount of money is not coming into the purse of the family anymore. So you should know that some things will change. You should know when you are in your not enough season, or just enough season, or more than enough season. For my own season, the not enough season elongated a little more because I left a paid employment and started entrepreneurship. My husband was also an entrepreneur, so we're both entrepreneurs, and we had to manage that season well. There were times where we focused more on the children than we focused on ourselves. Okay, there were times where we would eat just once a day, and the kids, because there were adjustments. I reduced shopping. I reduced all of that without feeling bad about it. So many things had to change. Okay, the way I cook changed. The volume of the amount of meat I put in a particular soup changed. The size changed because we are going to have guests, to the size changed, and I didn't feel terrible about it at all. What I would use as a sizable portion of one before, I'll cut into 3. So I tell people that is how you manage your seasons. And then there was a just enough season, and then the more than enough season. God uses all of this to test us, okay, and to grow us and to build our character. Even Paul said in the Bible, I remember he said, I knew how to live when there was more and when there was not enough. He knew how to carry himself well. So at this phase, as a stay-home mom music minister, you're going to be, I can remember even planting vegetables in the house. I started planting vegetables. I had okra, I had F4, I had just simple leaves, green in the house. I just planted them in the house while I was managing my not enough season. So there's wisdom to deploy in all of these cases. Where I shop, like I said, where I shop changed, how I shop changed. It was one of the seasons that made me know virtually all the local markets in my city, so I'm not going to be entering food court or ShopRite to shop like that again. So those are the things. You know what's most important, and then you devise the method that gets it done. At number 3, do not change your resumption time from 7 a.m. or 5 a.m. like it used to be. Instead, fill it up with new activities that you love. So you're coming from a place where you will be waking up at 5 before, ensure that you get to work for 7. There's a tendency for you to now say, now I'm a stay-home mom, I can wake up 8 o'clock, wake up 10 o'clock, which is the mistake so many people make. But you knowing that you have a major call, your music call, to give attention to, you have to stay with that lifestyle. But now you're just doing it with things that you love. So learn to create your personal system of promotion. What do I mean by your personal system of promotion? Your personal system of promotion is you identifying for yourself that I have this challenge with my music here and here. So let's say modulation, you still have challenge with singing correctly on keys. Maybe you still have, or you don't like the sound of your voice. You wish that the sound of your voice had a better tone or something. You identify those challenges and you're saying that, okay, between this time and this time, I'm going to work on this. Create your personal system of promotion. And then when you get it, you're like, wow, this is a tick box. One of the things that choirs do not have is that system of promotion. So you have to create your own. I can remember when my voice was still very, very on the low pitch, and I began to tell myself, I'm in the choir. I want to be heard. I want to hear my voice. So I'll give myself a simple test. I'll be like, among alto. I'll be singing such that my voice would, because it was rehearsal, so that my voice would be louder than every other person. I was stretching my breath, knowing how to project more breath and give more volume and make my voice more audible. So it was just my internal rehearsal time. Nobody knew I was doing that, but it paid off. It helped me. And I don't want to be proud. Everybody knows that in my choir, my alto is second to none. Once I open my mouth like this, I can swallow like 10 people's alto. But it was a personal system of promotion. All right. So identify what you do not know and close the gap, and self-compete. I was this yesterday. This is what I want to be. Self-compete. There's a time for that, and this is that period when God gives you this kind of time is a good time to do it. Okay, so grow yourself beyond the present state of your choir. Pray more. All right, pray more. I remember the COVID season was when I decoded a system that helped me to pray for at least 1 hour without sweat. I was coming from the period of working in the bank. My prayer life was thwarted, all of that, and it was not so good. I kept trying to get back. I was always in and out. But during the COVID season, which was a real stay-home period, we couldn't go anywhere. That was when I decoded a system to pray for at least 1 hour, and I held a webinar on it 2 times. The total number of people that attended that webinar on 2 counts was going to like 300. The first time we did it, people were like, wow, can we have this again? We'll invite people. And we did, and from there came the book Prayed Up. And I just thank God for the lives that book has touched. So that's that about that. Now, the entrepreneurial music minister, we're almost done. So the entrepreneurial music minister, this is peculiar to music ministers who see themselves building a visionary business that would outlive them even while they engage their music calling. So you're transiting into this season transiting into this season will demand that you gain added education, because building a visionary business or building an enterprise is something. Whether you are going to be building an enterprise with your music, whether you are building an enterprise, an extension for another expression of you. So for someone like me, I'm a creative, and I'm also very passionate about hair. I've been doing hair since when I've been in secondary school. So when I left the bank and I was going to think of something to start doing even from home, I thought of teaching. I started coaching lessons, teaching chemistry. I started teaching chemistry, and then they would employ me for like 3 hours, and I was getting daily income from that. And then I was building capital for my hair business. Okay, so I thought of the things that were natural with me. I had a very strong passion for hair in a very different way. So during that stay-home mom period, while I was still trying to gather funds for my business or and all of that, I was using my mind, to make money. So I would just start teaching people about hair. I formed a group. I started teaching people about hair. I was getting magazines online, just downloading magazines and just reading and reading and reading and reading. And that was forming, everything, education. Remember I said education. So transiting into everything. There's cheap education now, free education on almost everything. So transiting into this season will demand that you gain added education on the rudiments and principles of the business that you want to do and the business structure that you want to build. Getting education on visionary leadership and entrepreneurship. Okay, so this season comes with an added advantage of owning your time, and if you can masterfully deploy it, it will serve you across all these 3 pillars or more. So the game here is to adapt the T.E.R.R.A.T.E structural system, where you're thinking of the knowing what your goals are, the target, understanding your energy circle, adapting routines and regime, identifying relationships that can help you, skill your entrepreneurship skill quickly and highly, activating plans, okay, and then managing tasks, assigning tasks a proportion to good time, and then the last, engrossment. So once you can design your structural system around this your entrepreneurial season, you're going to be at your A game. The entrepreneurial music minister is also going to be interfacing your knowledge, what you're getting as knowledge in terms of being an entrepreneur. You should then begin to ask yourself, how can I marry this with my music brand? How can I marry this with my music brand? Okay, think of one of the things that I started doing was I started being deliberate about my short-term goals and then my long-term goals around my music brand, and executing them in alignment with the season that I'm in. Now, you have to avoid crash execution. What I always tell people is that plan, execute, curate, execute. Curate what you want to achieve and then execute creatively. Okay, it's better. Crashing execution is a draining system. And it makes you put, it makes you also transfer, makes you not be at your best self when executing. And if you're not mature, you'll be transferring all the pressure to those around you, and at the end of the day, you're building a brand that they may not want to work with again. So that's one of the disadvantages of crash executing. So think like a music entrepreneur. Always consider your ROI, that is your return on investment. I was having this coaching call with someone, a young artist who is in his late 20s, 29, 30. I think he's on his way to 30, who wants to step out into the marketplace, wants to penetrate the marketplace by doing something he has not done before. He's been singing actively in his choir, but he senses that he's in a season that God is saying, launch into the deep. Now, in that season, so I said, okay, what are you seeing? And he said, okay, he sees himself doing a concert. He feels he wants to do a concert targeted towards the youth and all of that. So I allowed him think on. I didn't take his idea away from him. So another time I asked him, okay, so what have you done? And he said, okay, I'm trying to see how I can get the church hall, how I can get the workforce around there and all of that to work with me. And I was like, okay, how is that going? And he began to tell me that he is not getting the kind of feedback he should get and all of that. Then I sat him down and I told him, I said, see, there's something called return on investment. And it works with human beings too. If those people are going to tell you, yes, I'll be there for you, it means that they have seen you, that you have invested that much in their life and they are ready to give you their time. But answer that question, do you think you are there with them yet? Not necessarily. You're not there. So it is either you have the money to pay for their services. If you're going to do it as a concert, stepping out as a concert, either you have the money to pay for their services or we change the method. Now, even if you have the money to pay for their services, the least you spend on a concert right now will be nothing less than 3 million. Okay? Even if God gives you men to help you, always value it in terms of monetary figures. Okay, so which means what you're investing at this phase of your career is that much. Now, what will be the return of investment? When you release that product, are you sure you can get 1,000 people with the resources you have to project that project for you? Are you sure that 3 million will come back to you? At least maybe sizable part, maybe half of it. Are you sure about that? You must think like a music entrepreneur. By the time we're done with that phase, we began to see that, okay, so can we re-strategize? If I'm going to make you do this, what will yield the kind of result we want for you and not overwhelm you is we are going to shrink that project into something that we know would be quality and will serve you a long time. So we'll shrink the project. We can get somebody. What will it cost us to do a video coverage in a well-lit studio? How you can have like 20 or 25 friends or even 50 direct friends that you talk one-on-one to that will come for that concert, and then we have a product that is captured and that we can share globally. What your investment in that work, which is also entering the marketplace, is giving you a greater return on investment. So you have to think like an entrepreneur. This is bringing the things you have learned as an entrepreneurial music minister, building a business into what you now do in music ministry. The safest entry point is to create an original digital product and then keep upscaling from there, especially if you are an independent music minister, independent gospel artist. If you are independent, if you're planning to be registered under a record label, the game is completely different. And you will agree with me, because at that point you are now working for a company. It's not your resources, it's their resources, and that is why they can place a demand on you any day, anytime to go do what they want you to do. Okay, so that's the difference here. Okay, so they can pump you in and then pump you out with so much money, and you are right there at the face of all the people. But your return on that investment as well is determined by them. They give you what they want. You don't even have an idea of all that they earned as far as that work is concerned. So you are a staff in that case. So like I said, the safest entry point is to enter the market space and build from there. Forget the likes. Building it will catch up with you. Lastly, I think I'm on my last slide right now, and this is me sharing with you general tips that can work for all the seasons. Okay, with your music, like I always say, plan to do at least a major brand lifting project for the year. And you can do this in many ways. You can do this as a monotonous work. You can do this with a collaboration. So for example, I have built my brand in music. You can see someone you have drawn a relationship with, and you're saying that oh, I want you to be on this work with me. I'm releasing my song. Releasing your song is one thing. Releasing it with a known face is another thing. You can just keep upscaling. Do at least a major brand lifting project every year. All right. So I set an example there. At number 2, keep updating your socials. The best way to do that is to see it as your proof of work. Make it your museum, make it your archive. Do not get emotionally downtrodden because people are not liking or no likes. Be proof, see it as your archive, as your museum. It will always work for you. Okay. So let me tell you, one of the December 2023, I got this opening to come speak at a music ministers conference. And the person organizing that conference hadn't heard my name before. And so someone who was close to me introduced, said, okay, who can I call in Ibadan that can speak to young people and just, and the person suggested my name. And person, I've not met that person before. So, but then he then went to my Instagram page and spent time on my Instagram, and he was like, wow, who is this person? See content too. There are some things I've never heard before. I was just original, putting my stuffs out there. And that was how that door opened for me. Got my brand in the faces of new people. Myself and that post are very close right now. So it's just keep updating your socials. Is a proof of work for you. Now, number 3, be future forward. Know more about YouTube and streaming platforms and the businesses and everything that attaches to all of this. I have taken courses on Facebook ads. I have taken courses on YouTube optimization. I've taken courses on YouTube. I've taken courses on streaming, on music business and all of that. I just keep searching and wanting to know, because that is my field of play. One of your responsibilities that would kind of really erase overwhelm for you is when you have a sizable idea of all the things that are needed. So for example, I began to realize that professionals, before they'll say music artists, you're only on Instagram. That's where creatives are. But they are now creatives on LinkedIn. I have an active LinkedIn handle, and I'm projecting myself as what I do, So, and amazingly, it's growing. People are taking note of what I am doing. Now, one of the biggest highlights for me since I started was just last week. The first music producer to produce an album with artificial intelligence, Inka Obi Chuku, recognized. I just saw his work. I commented and I was like, wow, this is future forward. I reposted his work on my page, and then he recognized this. Today we are communicating. You just never know. You must be future forward. And I'm asking him questions. How can the gospel music industry begin to think of, how can vocalists, because I'm a vocalist, I'm not a musician, I don't play any instrument, I'm a vocalist, and I'm asking, how can AI, artificial intelligence, begin to add on to the work that I'm doing? That's being future forward, because that's the wave of the moment. You're seeing them using it in agric, using it in almost every field, in family, in photography. You shouldn't just sit there and say, no, it cannot affect music. Search and see. You'll be amazed. Do you know that their research works? Recently, I sat down. I am not afraid to share ideas. Recently I sat down And I don't want to take the glory on this. It was God. I was just in the bathroom one day, and I was just thinking, and I heard a voice, relating. It said music and environment. Music and environment. And I was like, okay, Lord, I read environment, chemistry, music and environment. How do they relate? And then I just went online to just see if there's any research work on the effect of music and the environment. And I was dazed at the things I saw. Okay, so future forward is so important. So we're still on general tips that can help for all seasons. Marraige, deposit into the love bank of your loved ones. Simple things, at least weekly if you can. Get creative about it without always thinking money. What will it cost you to just send a voice note of an original playful song to your husband or to your fiancé or something? Just carry them. Oh, a song just came to me now. What do you think? Playful. You're not saying anything, and you left it. I love you. I leave it there. If your daughter has, like my daughter has her own tab and their own lines, I just send them a hug, a selfie. What they call those things? Stickers. And I just send it at that point in time. Deposit into the love bank. This is what builds family. If the love bank of each person is rich, it's fine. All right, sing a song, send a recharge card at whatever level that you are. Sometimes I just buy 50 naira plantain chips. Yes, sometimes I cook a big meal. Sometimes it's just an apple. Sometimes it's just a stick sweet that's 50 naira. Okay, I just bought this one for you today. Take. Bye-bye. Let them know. Let him know when you are leading a song in church. Balance it in your music. Let him know. Sing it where they are. What do you think? Let them say you are disturbing the house. They know me very well. Oh God, you are disturbing the house. Sorry. But I need to open my voice and all of that. And then lastly, talk to God about everything across every season. And I want to share with you one of my life scriptures that says, I will lead you in the best pathway for your life. It's in Psalm 32 verse 8. It settles in my spirit that I can never be confused. When I'm confused or sense that I'm confused, I don't know what to do, I don't take any step until I hear him, because he's not an author of confusion. When I'm not sure of what to do, I'm just there and I'm like, you will teach me. You will lead me in the best pathway concerning this situation. You will lead me in the best pathway concerning my business. You will lead me in the best pathway concerning these children. You will lead me in the best pathway as a wife. I would know what to and those things have not failed me. That prayer has not failed me. I don't want to stay too long here. While I was saying that, another miracle that happened between myself and understanding my husband was from this prayer. But I won't share that one today. Maybe another time. Okay? I do believe we have had an amazing time. Thank you for staying through, for listening. And you would be needing these courses. You can't get everything at once. Okay? One of the reasons why I opened it up as to the first cohort as free is because once you see what is being offered to you, planning to purchase it will not be an issue. And I have given an open window for this cohort. Is right there in the group, that in these 3 days you can get it at a discount, a very, very affordable discount. Okay, and just get on with taking actions and living above overwhelm. All right, God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye.